On today's video, we're going to go over my predictions for the real estate market right here in San Diego. I got my notes going, so you know it's going to be fun. We got some numbers, let you know what's going on right now, what to expect potentially going forward. And if this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe because we're dropping new videos every week here. Join our growing community so you know what's happening in the San Diego real estate market. And as always, I'm Chris Erickson with the Beach Life Group right here in San Diego. If you guys have any questions, you're thinking about making a move and you want some answers to your specific questions, whether it's buying or selling, be sure to click on the link right below to book your discovery call and set up a time to chat with us that works for you. Let's get into it. So prediction number one, like I said, a lot of people want to know what's going on with the price and the price trends. So comparing it to last year, 2022, by this time, we had already seen the peak in prices where interest rates had been going up. May was kind of the peak of 2022. This year, we're still going up. July last year to July this year, the home price is up a little bit. But with that being said, I still think that we have already peaked for this year. Now, I don't think it's going to be the same peak and downturn like we did see last year. We did see a significant drop off. This year, I think we're going to see more of a flattening. Typically, during this time of year, you will see prices kind of get a little flat, going a little bit down into the end of the year. And the last few years, we have not had that traditional market. This year, I think it's going to be a little more traditional, but not necessarily a crazy downturn, but maybe a peak right now and a little bit of moderation over these next few months. So if you're a seller out there, do I think you've already missed the best time to list? I'm going to go with yes. It's still not a bad time, but I think you did miss kind of the strongest part that we're going to see this year, which is typical in normal years. As we get more towards normalcy, we're not normal yet, but I think the best time to list was probably April or May. Now with higher interest rates that we do have now, the competition's still there, but we're going into a slower season. And real quick, one caveat with all these predictions, every neighborhood's gonna be different. If you're looking coastal, the entry price, the median price, all that's gonna be way different than inland. As you know, San Diego, the spread of homes varies greatly from even city to city. So take that all into account. Like I said, your situation could be a lot different, but I want to know what you guys are seeing out there in your specific neighborhoods. Drop it right down below and we get into it in future videos. So prediction number two is, what is the Fed going to do and how is that going to affect the housing market? Now, tell you the honest truth, I don't know. Nobody knows. And everybody who's saying that they know or saying that they have a good indication is probably just guessing, unless you are Jerome Powell or anybody within there. They obviously have a little bit more information than we do. But right now, the new CPI, the new inflation data came out today and it beat expectations, meaning it came in a little bit lower. So is the Fed going to still raise rates like they were saying in July and in August, 25 basis points? I think at least one of those two they will. And that rate doesn't necessarily affect one-to-one what happens with mortgage rates. And the 10-year Treasury is a much better marker of what is going to happen with interest rates. If the 10-year continues to go up, I think it was hovering right around 4. I didn't check it today, but if it does go 4 and above, yes, expect higher interest rates. Probably not going to 8%, but still staying within that 7% range. If the Fed does hike twice, it does put a little bit more pressure on. So I think they're going to hike at least one of the two and then kind of stay at that zone for a lot longer than a lot of people expect. Now, for us everyday folk out there, people getting mortgages, all that kind of stuff, if rates do continue to go up, if mortgage rates do continue to jump another point or so up into that 8% range, I think that will have significant effect on the housing market. So last year, at the end of 2022, when mortgage rates did get to that 7% range, which we are now, the market kind of ground to a halt. This year, I think people are a little bit more used to that 7%. So jumping up to the 8% might be the new threshold. Now, if they drop down, who knows when they will drop down. Then, depending on how close they get to that like 5% range, that will have a significant effect on the market as well. If they got down there, I think the market would explode again. It would go crazy. If they get up to that 8, I think we will grind a little bit more towards a halt. Prediction number 4 is going to get into the sales volume, or the number of sales we might potentially see here in San Diego. Now, you guys have known the last few years have been pretty weird. Typically, real estate goes in cycles. You have kind of the spring buying season, you peak out in the summer, kind of goes down towards the end of the year. December, obviously a real slow month with the holidays and whatnot. The last few years, it has definitely not followed the trend. 2020 was a super weird year. Everybody didn't know what was going on. 2021 was a crazy year. Nothing really ever stopped. It just kept going the whole time. 2022, that's how the beginning of the year was. Towards the end of the year, that's when we did see the market come to a screeching halt. So I'm going to give you some numbers from July and August of last year, 2022. I'm going to skip 2020 and 2021 and then give you 18 and 19 because I think that's a better indication of like a normal market compared to what 2022 was like. So for transactions in 2022, July, it was about 2,500 transactions for all of San Diego, and August was about 2,600 transactions for San Diego. For 2019, going back a few years when it was a little more normal, July had about 3,600 transactions, and August had about 3,750 transactions. So you can see the transaction number was much higher then. And then going back even 1 year, 2018, to give you a baseline, the number of transactions for July and August was right around 3,450. So much closer to that 2019 levels. Now my prediction this year, I'm gonna go, even though 2022 was a weird year where we had crazy hike at the beginning, we had a much slower market at the end, I'm gonna correlate 2023, July and August, a little bit closer to the numbers that we did see in 2022. We're not necessarily at those 2018-19 levels where you did see more sales because there's not as many homes on the market, so you can't have more sales. So just even, we're about a third of the way through July right now. We have about a little over 500, maybe 550 transactions that have closed here in San Diego for this month. I think we're going to sit right around that 2,000 mark. In August, I think it's going to be either a range a little bit lower than that, 1,800 to 2,200 homes sold. Prediction number 4 is going to be the inventory levels and the month's supply of inventory to give us a good indication of how the market's looking. And I think definitely right now in San Diego, there is a housing problem. There's not enough houses to buy. I know clients we're working with right now as buyers are a little bit frustrated. They know what they want, they know what areas they want, but there's really no homes in those neighborhoods. So the supply and the demand ratio just does not add up. There's not enough supply for the amount of demand that's out there, even at today's rates at 7%. So at the end of June, the month supply of inventory here in San Diego is 1.4 months, which is extremely low. If you go back to one of those normal years, July of 2019, during that time, we had 3.8 months supply of inventory. For July and August of 2023, I think we're going to stay relatively flat, but a little bit above where we were, those 1.4 months. I think we might go up to like 1.5 to 1.6 for month supply of inventory. And part of that is because I think interest rates, as they go up, as there's uncertainty in the market, people don't know what to do. I think it's going to keep some buyers on the sideline, in turn, keeping some homes on the market longer. So as those sit on the market a little longer, they roll over into the next month. So I not necessarily don't think we're going to have more homes on the market, but I think the homes that are going onto the market or are coming onto the market are going to have a little bit longer days on market and just going to be sitting a little bit longer. So in turn, adding to the month supply of inventory. So there's my 4 predictions on prices, on what the Fed might do, sales volume, and on the housing inventory and what potentially to expect over the coming months. I want to know what you guys think down below. And thanks so much for watching this video. I'm Chris Erickson with the Beach Life Group. We got your back when making the move here in San Diego.